Elected officials and Armenian American community groups are holding a vigil tonight in response to the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Annenberg Media's Kay Angrum is live in downtown LA where the vigil is taking place. Kay?
Now, members of the Armenian community here in Los Angeles, as well as the LA City Council and members of the community, have gathered here in front of the steps of City Hall for a Armenian peace vigil. Now, the peace vigil comes just a few weeks after a few attacks that had happened overseas. Now, what's happening here is there have been a lot of people gathering. I'm told about 100 or so people will show up, but right now the event has not started. Members of the Armenian community plan to rally and hold a vigil so that way they can pay their respects. Candles, they're wearing t-shirts in support of their homeland. A lot of people right now are just waiting for the event to start. Just a little context, again, a few weeks ago, a few attacks had happened overseas between two groups, Armenians and the Azerbaijan, and a few people had been attacked, and really people are just coming out tonight to pay their respects and show their support for their loved ones and for their community. Now, this conflict has been going on for a really long time, since the 80s, and now it seems that recently things have stirred up again, and it's really been over territory that both sides have encountered a few casualties. But since this past week, with Los Angeles being a huge place for a lot of Armenians, whether that be Glendale, downtown Los Angeles, really people are just here now to show their support. And now we'll be bringing it over to our guest who we have here, Manoush, who I know you came a few ways to get here, right?
Yes.
So I know you came here, and I'll just have you move over just a little bit. So you traveled really far to get here
That's
tonight, right?
40 miles, yes. From Bell Canyon, I'm here to support my community, and hopefully we can stop this violence and not senseless attack. There is, it's been going on, as you said, for a long time, and it has to stop sometime soon. Yeah.
And so what are you hoping will come out of, tonight? The community here is really strong. There are a lot of Armenians here. What is it like to be here?
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here, and I like to show my respect and my support. And whatever it takes, I will do it.
Well, thank you so much. Now, again, as I'd mentioned, that the City Hall behind me will be lit up this evening. It'll be in red, blue, and orange, to commemorate the Armenian flag. And again, that will start sometime soon tonight, so I'm sure you'll be able to see it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kay. With me today is Salpi Ghazarian, Director of the USC Institute of Armenian Studies. Salpi, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sanika.
So I want to ask you, this renewed conflict that happened earlier this month, what could this mean for a peace process going forward?
That's a very good question, and this really just happened a week ago. This is a conflict that has been not a burning conflict for a little over 20 years, and it's a conflict that has been self-maintained. It's the only ceasefire in the world where there are no monitors. The Armenians of Karabakh and the Azerbaijanis have monitored it, and over the last 2 years that's kind of begun to fall apart. This is bad for the region because this is a region that desperately needs stability, it needs economic development, it needs democratization. This is a piece of the former Soviet Union that's still transitioning into a normal, stable economic and political situation. So war anywhere is bad. War in that region is really dangerous for the political development. And of course, as you asked, it's really not good for peace because this means there's now even less trust and faith on the other side.
Now, the region that the conflict is happening in, Nagorno-Karabakh, has not been recognized by the international community. So I wanted to know, do you think it is important for the international community to recognize it?
What's important is that the international community recognize that self-determination is not an abstract political term. The reason self-determination is there in all of the norms of international law is because people realize that if a population doesn't determine its own future, its own system of governance, its own government, then that area is going to be unstable. So what's really important is that the international community respect the decision of the people of Karabakh, which was to not be a part of Azerbaijan. That's an important thing to decide, and it's an important thing to honor. The rest of us in all of the countries in which we live benefit from that principle of self-determination.
All right, and now we saw in the live shot that the Armenian community in LA is quite big. So how does this conflict affect the Armenian American community here?
In two very different ways. One is that war anywhere is bad. We know that. I mean, we watch the news, we follow what's happening in the world, and it's not a good thing to see that anywhere. That's the global answer. The specific answer is that there are people in this community with relatives on the front line. We held a very large event here on campus last Saturday called Innovate Armenia, and several of the guests had sons on the front line. This is a very immediate effect. But finally, at the end of all of this, it means that if Azerbaijan considers those people its own citizens, which it purports to do, treating them with this kind of violence, with this kind of senseless cruelty that at the end of the day does not create an environment for peace, that's bad for the whole region, not just for Armenians.
Okay, that's all the time that we have for today. Salpi, thank you again for speaking with us. Maddie, back to you.